feel like every day.
That's what I think.
We don't live down there with them, you know. So,
but that idea about the water temperature, you know, there are times when you can go inshore and you can go up in 3 feet of water, and you notice a temperature break. It's either warmer or colder, and it might be a degree, it might be 2 degrees, but those create like little thermal zones that they want to be in. When the water's too warm, they want to go into that perfectly temperatured water that's a little bit cooler. And when we get these down here, when we get the east winds, when we get the southwesters blowing, that blows all the surface water offshore, and the harbor temperatures will just plummet. I mean, I've fished in 48-degree water in Boston in August. And if we just get 3 days in a row of strong winds, just pushing that surface water offshore, it just totally turns the water over, and it really, really drops fast. And that's when weird stuff happens. That's when you find big schools of big fish right up in 2 feet of water. And they're probably in 2 feet of water because the sun was shining on those rocks during the day, and those rocks are the warmest thing, and now the tide's coming in over those warmer rocks, and that water is probably like a half a degree warmer than everything else, and they're just sitting in it. And I think there's a lot of other stuff we don't understand about the plankton, about all the little microbial life out there. It's setting up food chains. It's setting up places for squid to come in, setting up places for sand eel or other bait fish to come in and hang out. And, you know, the bass don't have a PhD in science, but they know a lot more than PhDs. they live this every day, right?
Yeah, 100%. And it's just like, it's always like, for me, like, what is that one factor today that's changing the bite up or keeping it going? You know, you get that bite going for 3 days when you think you got it all figured out. Then on the 4th day, there's that one little change. Now, is it a water temp thing? Is it a tide, you know, being pushed later in the day? Are they relating different? That wind shift, a moon is a big one around here, you know, and just that pattern that just keeps recycling itself over and over in different ways. That's what keeps me going with this. That's what I love.
Well, plus there's the whole migratory aspect of it too. They haven't really got where they're going yet either, right?
Yeah, daily migration, seasonal migrations, you know, all factors that go into play.
Yeah, you know, and I think, you know, once the fish set up, a lot of them are staying locally, but they're doing their local migrations where they have their food runs. You know, they know where the different feeding opportunities are. And they're going out, they're checking one thing out, they're coming back inshore, checking out another thing. You know, they're pretty well versed on where they can feed. And they definitely seem to have, like, pattern-related preferences for certain kind of feeding. And like you were saying, you know, what I like to have is, like, steady conditions day after day. Absolutely. I think steady conditions lead to a much more consistent bite. But we always get that, you know, this New England, we always get that major change in conditions where, you know, it's the same temperature every day for 5 days in a row. And then all of a sudden the wind shifts, it's pouring rain, everything's different, and now your bite is gone. And, you know, in the wintertime, like, people get all jacked up. They're like, oh, tomorrow's going to be 60 degrees, and it's going to be a great day to go out fishing. Well, it's going to be a great day to go out fishing, but, you know, that 60-degree day is a big change in the pattern. And although you think that it's going to jack up the fish, it's not going to have a giant impact on water temperature, but it is going to have some impact on the water temperature. And those fish that have been settled into a zone, they're going to move out of that zone. So if I've been on the bite on those fish for, you know, four 35-degree days in a row, and now it's going to be 60 tomorrow, that school of fish is gone.
Exactly. And it changes up your pattern that you had on them now.
Yep.
So it doesn't necessarily make it better or worse. It just makes it different.
You got to find them.
It's nicer to go out when it's 60 for you, but for them, that's a big adjustment. Their whole biology changes.
Yep.